Um, Tell us a little bit at Western Electric. Let's just go back there for a minute. Um, do you remember at that point if the company had any kinds of ethics codes or mission statements where they talked about um, ethical behavior and social responsibility?
I don't remember anything. I always felt Western Electric, and I think this with the whole Bell system, was an ethical kind of operation. And we didn't have the problems that some of these, like the financial businesses, have today. Uh, so, no, I always mentioned to my wife many times, I said, there aren't a lot of people grasping for the next rung. I mean, you don't feel it's highly competitive. It seems to be a meritocracy. And if you do your job, why, you just might get promoted. And that happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I, never did anything obvious. And I don't remember. In the purchasing department, we had to be careful of certain laws. In other words, you could not get a lower price for something by squeezing the supplier, or you'd be in trouble with the law. So we did know a little bit about ethics in the purchasing department. And we did the Bell system purchasing. In other words, I helped set up telephone directory contracts and printing contracts for the Bell companies, which Western Electric used to do. Yeah.
What education and/or previous professional experience best prepared you, or do you think anybody, for the rigors of ethical decision making? I mean, where does this knowledge come from?
Well, I think ethical decision making comes from your whole background, from your family. I mean, if your parents were ethical people and you, let's say, helped others. I was raised during the Depression, and my folks were very active in helping to take care of people like that. In fact, my dad was in social work anyhow. So perhaps that kind of thing rubbed off.
Mm-hmm.
But and I was raised in Dover, Delaware, which is a small town, from the second grade on. So it was a great place to grow up, and I have 3 brothers, so we had a good family. And the interesting thing, they're all still around.
Wow.
And none of them, went so far as none of us smoked to this day, even though, and my dad didn't, my mother didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So there's certain things that are built in, and I think that was just part of it.
So it's a family value.
Family values, and you can take all the ethics courses you want in college and it won't do much, except you'll fill out the form and pass the exam, but that won't change too much.
Mm-hmm.
I do think probably on this whole ethics thing, maybe case studies may be the best way to go, and I don't know how much of that goes on right now.
Actually, that is an important pedagogy, at least in
For that kind of thing.
in just in college in general, but there are various organizations that have case study competitions,
Right.
and they're valuable because they allow
Well, you want
discussion.
people that got into trouble because of the way they handle it, and people that avoided trouble because of the way they handle it. Larry Foster, of course, being a perfect example of how to do it right.
Right.
Now, a lot of the financial firms don't know how to do it right. They're not used to that.
Right.
And too bad. But I don't think an ethics course changes a basic philosophy too much. I mean, if you give that person 2 choices, and one says, this looks like we might get away with it, they just might do it.
Yeah.
The problem is lawyers have the problem. They got to defend people that are guilty. I don't know how you do that.
They know how to do it.
But they know how to do it, and you have the right
Right.
to have that kind of thing, and
Right.
to create a reasonable doubt.
Right. And let me ask you a couple general questions. What's the role of the economic bottom line in ethical decision making?
There are a lot of gray areas. There are a lot of gray areas.
Right.
I know our lawyers used to say, Bob, if you don't want anybody to know about it, don't ever write it down. Now, why all these people put it on emails, I don't know. But that just, I used to think when you press the delete button, it was gone. It's not gone. And I don't know why people aren't aware that that's not a good thing. So I don't know. Ethics, I think until you are in that spot, you really don't know for sure what you do. I mean, you think you do, but if your boss is saying one thing, and you say, that ain't right, boss, what's going to happen?
Right.
Yeah, so PR has a problem in a sense because it's driven more by the legal department than the marketing department. And you're there to advise.
Right. You're the counselor.
But you're not necessarily the one that makes the final decision.
Mm-hmm. All right. Did you have a direct line? Hold on. Let's drink some water. We'll cut this part out.
Yeah. Direct line.
Did you have a direct line to the CEO in your positions?
I did, but you know, at one time, toward the end of my Western Electric career, they suddenly created executive vice presidents. And then, so instead of reporting directly to the president, I reported to an executive vice president who had personnel, PR, and I don't know, maybe one or two other, accounting. And unfortunately, he wasn't one of my favorites. And he felt he wanted to make certain decisions and didn't want me talking to certain people up there. So that's why I say PR frequently has a problem because they do not always let you go directly. They put you, maybe you're under legal or some other thing. And that happened to me after I had a direct line
That would
at
be
Western
difficult.
Electric. And I didn't like it.
What about when you went to AT&T?
Well, AT&T, you know, I worked with Ed Block basically, but I know a couple of times Charlie Brown, who was the chairman, I was in there to talk to him on different things. I didn't make that initiative, he did. Let's say there wasn't any blockage, but I had no reason normally to go directly to him because that was more of the operations kind of the business, and I wasn't that directly involved in some of that stuff. That was Ed's job, if there was anybody.
What do you think about all the new technology and the effect that's having on
Social.
public relations and on ethical decision making?
Well, I don't know enough about it myself, but certainly when you get blogs and all that stuff, I mean, this stuff gets out fast. You don't have to wait for the morning paper. So it obviously complicates the job, and the problem is how do you get facts out there? But it's important, therefore, that you keep flow of information out there about your company, about your business, so that when people hear this from a blogger, let's say, that at least they raise a question in their mind, say, I wonder, that's not what I heard. But it is a complication, and I don't know. There are people out there to get you. They don't like you because you're big. In other words, I don't know about the bankers. I don't know what really should happen there. But there are a lot of people that don't like them. And I,
That's for sure.
well, the automobile business, same way to a degree, although Ford seems to have done very well.
Right.
And it's interesting that the former head of AT&T is now the chairman of the board of General Motors, and now the acting CEO.
Ah.
Yeah. And he seems to be doing a pretty good job. Yeah. But yeah, I think the social networking, bloggers, Twitter, I don't know any of that stuff, and I don't want to.
I must say I have never tweeted.
No, I wouldn't know what a tweet was. I thought it was a bird.